This is a different talk for me. I give a lot of talks these days, but this is the first talk in years that I've been a little bit nervous about. It's a really special story, and I hope you'll just be here with me and share this moment with me. I want to tell you a story about two 15-year-old kids. But I want to tell you up front that even though this is a story about hope, this isn't a really simple story. The first story is about a girl who grew up in the Philippines, living in a rural island of Mindanao, living on a village, who hoped to be more, who hoped to escape her village, who dreamt of becoming a teacher. She dreamt of being this teacher, and Janice, that's her name, struggled. Her mom died in childbirth. Her father was an alcoholic. To protect her, her aunt adopted her and her little brother. She worked every day, went to school every day, and despite all of this, just tried to make it work. She was so close to her dream. She was a year away from graduating, and then her world, everything just came at her. Her family was split apart. Despite working so hard, almost was running out of money. And at the age of 15, her brother committed suicide. Her life broke to pieces. The second story is about a boy who grew up in India, on the eastern edge of the eastern city of Calcutta. Loved to watch the planes take off at the airport every morning, dreamt of being an astronaut. This boy also, who we'll leave a name for right now, was also a dreamer. Sometime later, he moved back to the United States, and he had good friends, he had good grades, his family loved him. And time in life went on, but he didn't. He always felt a little bit alone, but could never really explain why. And he was probably a pretty good kid until he turned 14, and then something happened. His grades started dropping. A cousin that he really looked up to started backing away, and a girl that he cared about started distancing herself. His grades started dropping even more. The cousin backed away even more. The girl distanced herself even more. And he started failing his classes. The cousin disappeared. And the girl was gone. His life, too, broke to pieces. And at the age of 15, he tried to kill himself. That 15-year-old boy is the man that you see before you today. I tried to commit suicide when I was 15, and this is the first time I've ever publicly told my story. I remember coming home from school one day. It was a beautiful sunny day, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I remember walking up the stairs. I had made up my mind. I was done. I remember putting away my backpack. I remember getting a knife. I wrote a note, "I'm sorry," and put it on my parents' bed. I locked myself in the bathroom and made the first cut, and the second. They hurt a lot. For reasons I can't explain and reasons I still haven't understood, at that moment, a neuron flashed in my head. Just as I was about to make the third cut, these 6 words occurred to me. Every day after this is free. Every day after this is free. It's not the most articulate statement, or even the clearest, but those are the exact words that came to me at that moment. The exact words that saved me. I remember asking myself, if you finish this, there's nothing left. It all ceases to exist. But really, do you really believe that you can't do anything? Any epsilon of anything, any good greater than 0? Yes, it is dark. Yes, it is lonely. Yes, there's a desperate melancholy. But really, I stopped. I put away the knife. I bandaged myself up. I tore up the note, flushed it down the toilet. And I didn't talk about it for years. I was just too embarrassed. Education for me was my second chance at life. I somehow made it through school, somehow to Berkeley. And it was there that I first found myself. At the age of 17, I took a programming class. It was like first love. Do any of you guys read XKCD? It was like falling in love. It was intoxicating. The idea that you could take anything at all, any idea, and with a weekend, a laptop, and a whiteboard, that you could build anything, absolutely anything. This was mind-blowing. I was in love. I worked hard. I went to school. And years later, I went to go work at Amazon. And years later still, I left Amazon to found Vittana. Vittana is about helping global youth afford the education they need to climb out of poverty and climb into the light. Imagine a girl who wants to be a teacher in the Philippines and needs a few $100s to graduate. A girl like Janice, let's say. We make that possible. That's fundamentally what we make possible. 5 years ago, this was a crazy, heretical idea. We literally got laughed out of meetings. Today, we have operations in 13 countries. We're going to help tens of thousands of youth this year, and we have a 99% repayment rate. A single Vittana loan can triple a girl's earning power, taking her from living on a few dollars a day to more than 10. It's been a moment of rebirth for me. Love, light, rebirth, hope. These are exactly the right words of what education has meant to me. Which brings us back to our story about Janice. She had lost her entire family, her mom to childbirth, her father to alcohol, her brother to suicide. She had worked every day. She had gone to school every day. She wanted to make this work, but was so close, but now was running out of money and was going to have to drop out, less than a year away from graduation. She told us, "I believe I can do what anyone else can do." She had worked hard, she had kept faith, but it felt like the world had walked away from her. Somehow, she found Vittana and asked for a $203 Vittana loan and got it. $203, that's all she needed. She graduated in December 2011, and today she's a certified teacher. A teacher with her own classroom and children to inspire. A teacher who has climbed out of poverty, going from almost nothing to living on more than $10 a day. A teacher, and actually an aunt herself, who has started saving to send her own little niece to school so that she never has to go through what she has gone through. A teacher, a woman, a human being who has broken the cycle once and for all. From the darkness that was my 15, to the education that I fought for, to the hope that I found, that was my story. From the darkness that Janice had in her childhood, to the education that she fought for, to the hope that she found, that is her story. And from darkness to Vittana, and from darkness to being a teacher. For both Janice and me, education was our second chance at life. Why am I telling you all of this? Over the past few years, I've gotten to meet some of the most amazing, inspiring people, some of the world's top entrepreneurs and businessmen, celebrities, social change makers, Vittana youth, friends. And I've been blessed to have some of the most genuine, deepest conversations with many of you. And I discovered something. Whether depression, alcohol, sickness, or something else, whether themselves, a brother or a sibling or a daughter or a child, that everyone had a story, their own path and hero's journey, coming from a place that was dark, dealing with a lot of issues, hoping to be seen for who they truly are, hoping to be more, hoping to be loved, hoping to be remembered. But no one talks about it. Over the past few months, There have been 3 entrepreneurs who've killed themselves. I didn't know them, but I knew of them and they knew of me. And I'd wished I'd spoken up earlier. No one talks about it, but I can talk about it. I can tell you that at 15 there was nothing, only darkness, a vicious melancholy, a desperate loneliness. I can tell you that at 17 I found hope, an education, a light. At 20 that I found purpose, a way to organize my mind, a way to live, a path. I can tell you that at 25 I found a dream that you see today as Vittana, a dream that we could help an entire generation achieve their dreams. And I can tell you about Vittana. I can tell you that through education, Vittana helps youth get a second chance. I can tell you that one boy, one girl at a time, Vittana can help youth escape poverty and climb into the light. I can tell you that through education, Vittana can help youth be more, be loved, be remembered, achieve their dreams, and become their own heroes. And I can tell you about all of us. I can tell you because I've been there. That no matter how dark it is, no matter where you are or who you are, that every day after this can be filled with purpose, every day after this can be filled with hope, and that every day after this can be filled with freedom. This isn't a story about me. This isn't a story about Janice. This isn't a story about Vittana or even education. This is a story about hope. And maybe you'll let me tell you the original story about hope. Pandora was created by the gods, beautiful and beguiling. She married Epimetheus, who was as strong as she was kind, hard as she was soft, patient as she was restless. One day they met a man in a field carrying a heavy burden, a beautifully carved box. Pandora asked, "May we help you with your burden?" The man smiled and said, "Yes, I suppose you must." He asked if he could leave his box with them, for he had to hurry to complete his journey. Before he left, he warned, "You must not open the box." As the days passed, Pandora couldn't stop thinking about the box, its beautiful design, its weight, the man's warning. And one day, she succumbed to her curiosity and opened the box. In that moment, all of the world's evils flew out: disease, hunger, cruelty, fear. In that moment, it all was out. Pandora fell to her knees sobbing. She knew what she had done. But the box wasn't empty. There was still something left inside, and that something was what we call hope. Perhaps because she heard a little cry, perhaps because she had faith, perhaps because she had a sense, Pandora reached into the box and pulled out hope. And that is why we have hope in this world. Sometimes that hope comes in the form of a programming class at Berkeley. Sometimes that hope is a $203 loan from Vittana. Sometimes that hope is just someone believing in us. We each have that hope within us, whether it be our friendships, whether it be our knowledge, whether it be our resources or our passion. We each have that hope within us, and we each have an opportunity to reach in and pull out hope, sometimes for ourselves, sometimes for one another. I ask you to reach in and pull out that hope and to be a hero. Every day after this is free. Thank you.